BCTV.
And we have here with us Thandie Newton. Thank you so much for granting us this interview. We know you're so busy with everything else, so thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you on the Aya Show. So would you tell us a bit about you?
Well, I've been performing for over 20 years now, acting in films.
Wow.
And I did my first play last year.
Okay.
So I'm starting to sort of branch out and do other work. And but basically my career since the age of 16 has been working in films.
Okay.
It wasn't what I necessarily thought I would do. I thought I was going to dance. Dancing was my passion. And one thing led to another, and I ended up switching careers when I was 16.
Okay. And how have you found that? Have you found the journey? Do you think you should have stopped at dancing?
No. I think you need to surrender to what life presents to you on the one hand, and also make yourself available and disciplined in whatever field you think you're suited for. And I've done a bit of both, even though I was training to be a dancer, and I absolutely love dance. The opportunity to act in a film presented itself, and I just loved the idea of it. And I was also incredibly fortunate to have that opportunity. And my mum, who's from Zimbabwe, she's always inspired me to take opportunities, no matter how random or seemingly unexpected they might be. Because you never know, that might inspire you to do something different. It might lead you to another amazing opportunity. I think in the arts, everything can inform you as an artist. Whether you're a painter, whether you're a singer, whether you're an actor, musician, every kind of life experience can inform you and your creative journey,
So would you tell us about your family?
Yeah, my mum's from Zimbabwe.
Okay.
From Highfields, which is a rural area in Zimbabwe. And my dad is from Cornwall in England. And my dad, when he was in his early 20s, decided that he wanted to go and find the roots of the blues. He loved music. And my dad's pretty anal. So he figured out that the roots of the blues wasn't America. The roots of the blues was Africa. I'm so proud of my dad for being cool like that. So he found a map. He got a map of Africa and just closed his eyes and pointed.
Wow.
And it was Zambia. So he went to Zambia. He was a lab technician.
Okay.
And he had a really cushy job in Lusaka in the hospital. And it was an amazing time in the late 60s to be out there. People from all over the world had these sort of sponsorships to go and work in Africa. And he had friends from Hungary, friends from Australia, friends from all over the world in this incredible hospital environment. And my mum was working there. She was a midwife. And it was his birthday. It was my parents' 40th wedding anniversary on the weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
And I know, it's sweet. And he wrote me a text saying, who would have thought that all those years ago on my birthday, at a party for my birthday, that my life would have been changed. So they met 40 years ago in a party, and my mum had a black eye at the time. I just remember that detail being kind of incongruous to the whole thing. And the rest is history. They fell in love, and their relationship was met with a certain degree of wariness in England, not in Africa. I think my dad's family was genuinely concerned that my dad would find it difficult doing something so out of the ordinary. Yeah. Because at that time, still, even you travel around England, If you're in London, if you're in Bristol, if you're in Manchester, if you're in the cities, it's this incredibly sophisticated melting pot. It is the future of the world. But if you go to the more provincial parts,
you still get those.
It's not as evolved. So that's what my parents were dealing with. But I think that's one of the reasons why they have made it to their 40th ruby wedding, is because they were tested that early. You know, the strengths of their... Yeah, it's like, do we really want to deal with all of this? Do we really want to deal with this trouble and strife in the family?
Have you got brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have a brother. He works
older, younger?
He's younger than me, but sometimes he's older, sometimes he's younger. You know what I mean? Sometimes he's my twin.
Protected.
Yeah. He's my idol. I adore him. And so the strength of their companionship was tested early on, but I think that's a good thing. I think it's good. I don't think we learn anything by being comfortable. Don't believe it. We learn from the difficulties. That's what it's like, being forged in fire. You know.
Yeah. Pressure makes diamond, they say.
Yes, thank you. I like that. Pressure makes a diamond. Love that. Yeah.
There you go.
No, I do. I think so. But you find though too, when even my kids at school, I've got two daughters. One's 11, one's 7.
I've gone into that.
My 11-year-old is just... Yeah, I'm a mum. My 11-year-old is just doing her homework and it hurts her, and I'm like, baby, learning is painful. You know, acquiring new experiences is painful. But out of that pain, you literally get stronger.
Yeah.
In the same way, you know, if you're in the gym and you're running and your legs are hurting, your legs are getting stronger. You know, and it's the same. I learned something very profound when I gave birth to my children. That's when I became a mother, was when I experienced the physical challenge of childbirth. People call it pain, but it's much more profound than that. People are so afraid of pain, but pain teaches you what it means to be a human being.
It makes you appreciate it, doesn't it?
But it's not only that. Pain is a leveler. When you go through pain, the pain of childbirth, in that time I was honouring women everywhere who have been through the same experience, you know. And also the pain of childbirth is my way of showing my child, before they've even arrived into the world, that I will do anything for them. I will feel this and I will come out the other side, because it is, to be a human being, to be a mother, is sacrifice. And sacrifice is part of life.
So would you tell us about your films? Particularly, I really liked The Coloured Girl.
Oh, I love The Coloured Girls. It's great, isn't it? Based on a very important African-American piece of literature, Ntozake Shange, a well-loved piece, and it gathered the movie gathered together the best talent.
It was the very top list.
It was an amazing experience, and it was something new for Tyler Perry, who's much more known for lighter comedies. And he really wanted to try and challenge himself. You know, he wanted to get out of his comfort zone, and he grew as a result. And it was painful for him. You know what I'm saying? But he has grown. We actually worked together again recently, a movie called Good Deeds.
How's your experience being working in America and working here? So, has there been any difference as such? The roles that you get, roles that you play?
Wow. They're different every movie, every project. Yeah, it's different, I guess, but I don't know. I tend to focus on what's similar than what's different. That's just my upbringing, I guess. You know, I was always different, but I didn't feel different. That was something that was projected onto me. So I was always keen to sort of see this, to feel the same as everybody, as opposed, do you know what I'm saying? So I don't really tend to look for differences. I look for universal sameness. So but I think the film industry, and also there are people in America who are from all over the world, who are part of the industry, you know what I mean? And sometimes I'll do a movie here, but the funding is from America, or I'll do a movie in Canada, and the funding is from England and Germany. But I mean, it's a melting pot. That's what's so cool about the arts, actually.
Do you see yourself as an actress who gets more of a certain role than another role?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
So how did that change?
I've been around a long time doing it. I tell you what, I can do many, many different things. And when I'm given the opportunity to transform, that's when I'm happiest.
Okay.
Like Oliver Stone
Okay.
asked me to play Condoleezza Rice in a movie, and I was so thrilled that he took a leap of faith. Because if you look at me and hear my voice, and I'm nothing like the woman, I got to transform completely. I changed my body language, I changed my physique, I changed the way I spoke. I got together with an amazing makeup artist and we created the look, all these different challenges which actually made it more interesting. And I'm most frustrated when I'm playing a role that's more like me or what you'd think is like me. Nice lady.
So what do you think people think is like you?
Intelligent, soft.
And what would you say that?
Nurturer. You know what? The emotional heart of the movie. That's what I often get.
But that's women.
That's women in general.
But your role for Coloured Girls, you were quite strong.
Honey, that's recent. That's recent, and they're the roles that I look for now. I think I'm talking like the things that I get offered often tend to be. I mean, it's women in general. It's not just me. The roles for women have a long way to go, and I think the way that will change is by women writing for women, women directing for women. I think it's also there's a patriarchal system in place in movies too. Heroes are men. Women are fetishized. And I'm really fortunate that I'm able to go outside of that and have a degree of influence in being able to play women that are more complicated, more interesting. I find I really gravitate towards characters that are unsympathetic. Like there's a character I played in The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. I play a mother who abandons her child. And I read that and I thought that's a kind of suicide. To abandon your child is the most self-destructive thing you can do. But of course, I read the script and the director and Will Smith were like, she's a bitch, she's a horrible person, what she's done. And they had both had experiences, very negative experiences of being, fathers, divorced fathers, unable to have custody of their children. So they had very strong negative feelings about a woman who leaves their child, right? But I read it and immediately knew that the way to portray her was to show the pain inside,
rather than
and the desire to self-destruct, which can be the only reason why a woman would want to leave her child. So I like the complicated role. I like the roles that on the surface people want to hate, and I want to make them more human. I want to make it harder for us to hate, basically.
So would you go into directing?
I think you can tell, can't you?
I knew that, but I just thought.
No, guys, you should have seen me telling them where to put the camera. Like, no.
That was just
you've got to go over there, and Kobasi, you've got to go here, and
So I think you can see the talent coming through.
Talent or bossiness?
No. This is talent. It's all right. So
I'm writing now.
Okay.
I've started writing. I'm adapting a book that I love about set in Oakland and Brooklyn in the 1960s in the United States. It's sort of Black Panthers, civil rights. I love research. It's my favourite part of what I do. And also I think a time will come, I hope, when I can be more active in a directorial role with the human rights work that I do. I'm on the board of a charity. It's more of an organisation than a charity called V-Day. V stands for vagina. And it's an organisation to end violence towards women and girls worldwide. And we focus mainly on Congo, Haiti, Afghanistan, where sexual violence towards women is really prolific. And basically, particularly in Congo, rape is a weapon of war now. And we are highlighting that and trying to make it hard for the international community to turn away from the situation because we're all complicit. Every piece of electronic equipment that we have, PlayStations, iPhones, iPads, very often the mineral coltan that is needed for these these goods comes from places like Congo. And the thing about Congo is that the minerals is very rich in resources, but the minerals are mined and exploited by militia who are illegally exploiting the minerals, using them to rearm and fight their wars on Congolese soil, or go back into Uganda, go back into neighbouring countries where they're hiding out in Congo, basically. And so what's happening is actually through the purchase of electronic goods, which we do merrily in the West, we are funding human rights atrocities that are...
I'll just buy it. As long as I
But
can
they
get
don't
it,
know.
I pay for it.
They don't know.
You'd be surprised people know about it, but they still don't care.
Well, that's
Even
my
people
job.
that come from...
My job is to make us care.
Well, a lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't, but a lot of people do. And I think the reason why the earth is still turning is because a lot of people do.
Okay.
We're always going to have, it's always going to be a balance of some people don't care, some people do. And the people that do are the lucky ones. The people that care are the lucky ones. The people that have a conscience are the fortunate ones, because it means that they have been nurtured well enough to love. People that don't care, people that don't love have been through horror that they have not resolved. And I feel for those people. I feel compassion for those people. But it is up to us. If you have the strength and if you have the love to be able to help, then you have the duty to help. Even if others don't. If you wait for other, he's not doing it, so why should I do it?
Nothing's going to get done, is it?
You're bankrupt. You're bankrupt. Why should life be fair? Life isn't fair.
Would you say that because you have that information, then you understand it a bit more?
It's my duty.
You feel that you have a duty of care to those people?
I have a duty to myself.
Okay.
I have a duty to myself. I'm compelled. I have a duty to my children. I have a duty to the planet. I have a duty to you. I'm part of the human race, and I feel fortunate that I feel like that. I feel fortunate that I don't want to switch off my conscience. I really do.
So are you quite religious then?
I'm more spiritual.
That is like a standing answer now. That's the same. I can get it. So I always ask, what's it being spiritual and what's being religious?
Religious is where you ascribe to a formal religion that has rules, that has an ideology which you need to, you take religious ceremonies in order to actually be part of the community. You have to, worship. I don't worship a god. If anything, the Buddhist ideology is one that is very, and Hinduism as well, really speaks to me. And, with Buddhism, it isn't a religion, it's a philosophy. Buddha didn't want to be worshipped, he was just sharing his wisdom. So that's, I think as soon as you start getting into a power trip with religion, it can be very problematic. So I suppose I'm spiritual in that I believe that I have an energy, a life force, which I share with every other living thing. And I believe that this body is I'm in transition. I'm in this body. Look, there's a great movie called I Am. It's a documentary, and in it was really interesting that it's a little bit like your name. There are molecules in oxygen called ions. They have existed since the beginning of time. This is it's a fact. It's a biological fact. These ions are in all oxygen. An ion that you have inhaled could very well have been inhaled by Alexander the Great, because they have existed on the planet.
So
they pass through us. This is not mumbo jumbo. This is hard scientific fact. There are ions in the
quite knowledgeable, isn't she?
No, but hang on.
I feel like I'm in a lecture now.
But this is the truth. So for that reason, we are, just for that reason alone, the same ions that have passed through you have passed through many other people. Does that mean you're not connected to everyone? Of course it means you're connected to everyone. Do you know what I'm saying?
So we all share a...
But I think that I search for a oneness, and it has made me happier to believe that I am part of everything. it makes me less able to hate. It makes me, I embrace people. I embrace even people that have done terrible things. I try to embrace that. Because in their situation, maybe I would have done the same thing. It's also what makes me an actor, you know, in that I'm curious about the motivation of people, why they do what they do. You know, because by trying to figure out why people do what we do, perhaps we can then understand and help.
So what would you say to a young black lady who wants to go into acting? What would
A
you
young
say
black
to
lady who wants to go into... Well, I mean, if you want to go into acting, you obviously know that you can do it. I think that, here's the thing, I think these days there's a real, there's a tendency to confuse celebrity with fame and with, you know, people want to be famous, but they don't want to be famous for doing something. You know, the fame element is what they want. When in fact, fame is a byproduct of doing something very well, or it's how it should be. In our culture now, celebrity, you don't have to be good at anything. You just have to be willing to
do something.
To do something that other people don't want to do in public. Which I think is tragic.
Anyone can be a celebrity, basically.
Yes, you can. You can roll out a red carpet in the front of Iceland. Do you know what I mean? It's amazing. But that being the case, it shouldn't stop a person from wanting to excel at something. But I think the best way, look, here's the thing. Fame, if it's just fame for fame itself, is going to have a very short-lived career, and I don't think it will bring lasting happiness. Fame is something, and like I said, it's a byproduct of doing something really, really well. And that is what will bring you lasting happiness and satisfaction, is if you become an expert in something. And you don't have to go to university to become an expert necessarily, but if you do go to college or university, you're surrounding yourself by like-minded people who have the same energy for learning and growth. So obviously it's a great environment for learning. And I mean, my mother was insistent that I went to university because she just thought acting wasn't a real job. It's okay, I get it.
Still, you've got to get the...
No, now finally she's into it. But I do think that an education, whether it's a formal education or whether it's becoming passionate and, you know, writing to a lot of different, write to casting directors, write to budding filmmakers, subscribe to film magazines, get online to websites, get your pen and paper out and write letters saying, I'm passionate, I want to do this. If you're passionate in film, read about film, go to your library, find out about it. You know, make it into, be pragmatic, make it real. You can't just be fantasizing about, wouldn't it be great to walk a red carpet and be famous.
Just actually go and
become an expert. No one is stopping you from becoming an expert. There is literature available. Push yourself out there. Obviously, you know, colleges are expensive. Drama college is expensive, but there are, you know, I got a grant for going. Even though they're incredibly scarce, it is possible. But I think what we have to do...
Basically not to give up. And just not keep chasing it.
Look, one of the things that we're really, really fortunate to have these days is the internet. We are incredibly fortunate. You get on there and you find what you need and you make it happen.
So if given the chance, would you do anything differently?
Yes,
in your career?
I would. I would have, early on, I would have got a publicist, I would have got a manager, I would have got the whole works.
So if you stopped acting, directing, say you stopped all of a sudden, what else would you do? Or what else would you?
I can't imagine not doing it. I think I would continue with my human rights activism in a more I mean, I do think about that. I think if I had so much money, I would stop acting and I would become I would work full-time for 3 days. But the other main reason for not doing that is that I have 2 children. You know, and I don't think they, you know, I think in a way, to devote myself entirely to it would be like, you know, having another child, a much bigger, much more demanding.
Okay.
So, but I would be compelled to do that.
What would be your advice to another young person?
To stay open, no matter how difficult your situation, no matter how harshly life has treated you, whether it's people around you, whether it's family, whether it's institutions, remain optimistic that it will change, and not to give up, and to reach out. I think people, when they have been hurt, I mean really, really hurt, find it incredibly hard to trust, to reach out.
Okay.
But there are so many people wanting to help. There are so many organisations that are dedicated to helping, whether it's Kids Company, whether it's, you know, NGOs, it's about finding solutions that are life-loving and peace-making. It's very hard to give general advice when people have been through so many different things, but not to give up and to believe that there is a better day around the corner. There always is. The reason I'm here today is because of an amazing young man I met called Kabasia, who is here with us today. And, you know, he was kind enough to share his story, his life experiences with us when we were researching a play. And we were inspired by him. And that's why I'm here sitting with you today. And I think, you know, he runs an organisation called Survivors Speak Out. Is it Survivors Speak Out? Yeah. And if you just go online and hear the testimonies of people who have survived unthinkable abuses and pain, and who are not shamed by their experiences, but who want to share it and show what's possible. And I think that would be that would be an example of how you can put your own problems into perspective and see what is possible. Don't close. I think the biggest injury we can do to ourselves is to close off and to stop trusting. And that's what happens when you've been damaged and traumatized, is you close off and you don't trust. And it takes a kind word, or it takes people like Kabasia, people like me, people that are invested in growth and in hope. And they are there. They're everywhere around you. You just have to look up from your place of pain and find them, and they will be there. On the Aya Show, and thanks for joining us.